needs two people. How many people? Two just persons. But in the month of Ramadan, what's the reason for one person in the month of Ramadan, and what's the reason for two people out of the month of Ramadan? The reason for that is we rely on one person in the month of Ramadan because the moon is attached to a specific ibadah. In the other months, we don't have the specific ibadahs like the month of Ramadan. And to be cautious, that listen here, we are really fasting, we're cautious with regards to our ibadah, and that's why we only need one person. The other months, we need two people. So that's the first one. If a just person, he sights the moon, and he comes to the Qadi, he says, listen here, I saw the moon. The Qadi accepts it because of his adala, then everyone have to fast. And the second one is for the public is bistikmali 30 yawman in Sha'ban, by the completion of 30 days of the month of Sha'ban. So if it is tonight, the 30th night of Sha'ban, and tomorrow is the 30th day of Sha'ban, and the next day they won't be fasting, and we will know that it won't be Sha'ban, but we will know that the next day is Ramadan. Okay? And then we mention if a person, a fasiq, he sees the moon, and it comes to the hakim, I saw the moon, and the hakim has established that this person is a fasiq, and he rejects his shahada, his testimony. I don't want to accept it. Then that person who's the fasiq who saw the moon, he has to fast. And then we mentioned also about a female, if she sees the moon, then she has to fast, and she tells her husband he has to fast. Okay? So these are the different scenarios. And then also, Imam Ramli, one of the considered scholars in our madhab, he said any person who study astronomy, study the calculation with the stars and stuff like that, if you study that and he comes to the conclusion based on his calculation that tomorrow will be Ramadan, then in the Shafi'i madhab, in his right he has to fast, not the whole country have to follow him. But in the Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, he said no, we accept it. Are you with me? And that's why we find in Saudi they do the calculation based on the knowledge or the field of astronomy. Okay? But in the Shafi'i madhab, if one person sees it, or one person he calculated and is an expert in it, it will be only for him compulsory or permissible to fast. Okay? But for us, we don't accept it. We want it to be yaqeen. We want it to be established with conviction, with yaqeen. And this is done when the person sees it, and this is done when the 30 days of Sha'ban is depleted or complete. Okay? We don't depend on dhan. There's something we call dhan and yaqeen and shak. We don't depend on, is it really so? We don't depend on dhan. We only, when it's yaqeen, when it's conviction that this is going to happen, then only we take it. But dhan, we don't normally take it. Okay? So that is the synopsis of what we discussed last week. And then we mentioned also shurut or shartu wujub khamsati ashya. So when does fasting becomes compulsory upon an individual? When does fasting become compulsory upon an individual? So there's 5 conditions that we have to look in the individual before fasting becomes compulsory upon this person. So how many conditions must there be? 5. If one of these conditions are not found within an individual, then fasting is not compulsory upon this individual. Okay? But if it must be all these 5 conditions together. If one of these conditions is not there, then we say no, fasting is not compulsory upon him. So let's see the condition. Inshallah, I'll read from the book and then explain. The first one is Islam. He must be a Muslim. Then fasting is compulsory upon the person. Number 2, he must be a sane person. Must be sane, sound-minded, then fasting is compulsory upon him. He must be free from menstruation. I'm reading by the wrong one. He must be Muslim. That is شرط صحة أربعة أشياء. He must be a Muslim. He must be mukallaf. He must have the ability. And I explain the ability again. He must be healthy. And he must be a muqim. Now let's look at these conditions. If a person is a Muslim, and he is a muqim, and he has the ability, and he has the health, however, he is not mukallaf, is fasting compulsory upon him? Is fasting compulsory? So that's why I say, hence, I mention that all five these things must be in the person. Then only fasting becomes compulsory upon this person. Another example, the person is mukallaf, the person is free from, the person has the ability, the person has the health, he's a muqim, but he's not Muslim. Is fasting compulsory upon him? No. So this, by listening these examples, we established that all five conditions needs to be in individual, then fasting becomes compulsory. Khair? So let's look at the opposite. If we have to just look at by the reading in the book, Islam, what's the opposite of Islam? Kufr. So kufr is not wajib upon the person. Mukallaf, meaning age of puberty. What's the opposite of age of puberty? Ghair mukallaf, a small boy, not compulsory upon him. Ability is healthy. So if a person is sick, which is opposite, not compulsory upon the person. Muqim is a non-traveler. Opposite of it is a traveler. Is fasting compulsory upon the traveler? He has the option. He has the option. Must I fast or mustn't? So in certain things, a person have the option. In certain things, the person does not have the option. Okay? So let's go into it, inshallah. So when we discuss Islam, a person must be Muslim. We deduct from this that a kafir fast is not compulsory upon the kafir. However, if he does not fast in this dunya, despite of him being a kafir, he will still be questionable the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah because of leaving fast out. You got it? And as mentioned the last time, ما سلككم في سكر قالوا لم نكن من المصلين ولم نكن نطعم المسكين وكنا نخوض مع الخائضين وكنا نكذب بيوم الدين حتى أتانا اليقين. So these verses is so it will be asked to the kafir, what made you to enter in the fire of Jahannam? And then he will mention, we were not of those who fasted, of those who performed salah. So with salah we make qiyas upon with fasting. So we can see that kafir is excluded from fasting, but he will be questioned on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah. By just listening to this, the ulama say, if he is questioned about this on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, feeding him, as a Muslim, feeding him in the month of Ramadan, during the day of Ramadan, it is haram for you to feed him. You got it? And I want to clarify this. It's very important. I know our people is generous. They want to make pots of food in the month of Ramadan and all these things. The ulama says here in the book, it is i'anatan lahu ala ma'siyatin. You hear the saying? ويؤخذ من مطالبة الكافر به حرمة إطعام المسلم له في نهار رمضان لأنه إعانة له على معصية, because you are assisting him in being disobedient to Allah. So imagine if you cannot feed a kafir in the month of Ramadan during the day of Ramadan, what about feeding the Muslim during the day of Ramadan? However, with exception, if the person is a sick person, then you do so. The person is excused and it's compulsory upon him, then you do so. But if you know that this person he can fast, then you don't do so. You don't feed him. However, if you want to feed him and you say, listen here, this person, I'm giving him food, he's gonna keep the food for tonight, then you do so. Are you with me? But you give this food to him and he will eat the food during the day, then you are assisting him in being disobedient towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Khair? So we established that fasting is not compulsory. So what if a kafir fast? Will his fast be accepted? Will his fast be accepted? La. His fast will not be accepted. What if he wants to fast and he wants to make qada? Will it be accepted? La. ولو قضى بعد إسلامه لم ينعقد كما أفتى به الرمري. Even if after accepting Islam and he wants to make qada, his fast will not be correct. However, the ulama say, the day that he accepted Islam, نعم اليوم الذي أسلم فيه يستحب قضاؤه. نعم, the day that he accepted Islam, it is mustahab for him to make qada of that day. You got it? The other days, so for example, he accepted Islam on the Thursday. It might be accepted Islam after Dhuhr Salah. So the ulama say it's mustahab for him to fast on that day. Okay? And why don't we tell him to make qada? Because we want to encourage him to come into the fold of Islam. It's easier, man, now you tell him, listen here, you were 20 years a kafir, 20 years of fast you have to make qada. It's going to be difficult upon the person. Even salah, he mustn't do any qada on that. Khair, is that one clear, inshallah? And then the second one is taklifun. We said he must be mukallaf. He must reach the age of puberty and sanity. So if, like here we can deduce and deduct that a sabi, a small boy or a small girl that has not reached the age of puberty, fasting is not compulsory upon him, like how salah is not compulsory upon him. However, the wali must train this youngster or this boy to fast until when he comes to that age of puberty, then he have some experience or some training on how to fast. And alhamdulillah, as mentioned last week, we have this beautiful custom in Cape Town where we tell the boys and the girls, if you are 6 years old, 7 years old, you start fasting half day. And eventually, we get them to fast whole day. And unfortunately also on the other hand, we have people that comes to us, elderly people, and big, and say vandag was hy halfdag. I've met many people like that. There's no such thing for a mukallaf person to fast half day. There's nothing like that. This half day is something that was introduced and it was as an encouragement for. It's either you fast, because fasting is from what? Min tulu' al-fajr ila tulu' al-shams. It's from the coming of the dawn, which is fajr, and the setting of the sun, which is maghrib. That is fasting. If you eat any period in between that period, then you're not fasting. Okay? So, and here they also mention that if the child is 7 years old, then you train him to fast. And if he's 10 years old and he does not fast, then you should yudrab. You should give him some hindi in order to show him the seriousness of his ibadah. And this is made qiyas upon salah. And here they say, وَالْأَمْرُ وَاجِبٌ عَلَى الْوَلِي كَمَا مَرَّ فِي الصَّلَاةِ هُنَاكَ. It is wajib for the father to train the child, to command him to fast in the month of Ramadan when he reaches a certain age. Khair. And then we go to the third one is itaqa. Itaqa means to have the ability, hissan or shar'an. The ability. So if a person doesn't have the ability because of old age, person is 90 years old, it's difficult for him to fast, then fasting is not compulsory upon him, but there is something upon him. وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. We'll come to that inshallah. So if he's sick also, old age, he's sick, he doesn't have the ability to fast. But what type of sickness? We get different types of sickness. Is it a mere headache that you get? Or is it a mere flu that you get? It is that type of sickness. If you fast and your fast will worsen your condition, or it will delay you getting healthy, then you must stay away from fast. Okay? Like we mentioned in tayammum, I think. If it worsens you, then you must stay away. The water, for example, the water. Okay? Number 4, siha, health. We mentioned this. And number 5 is iqamah. Very important. a non-traveler, a person, a muqim, we call this a muqim, a person who's staying in his place. When is a rukhsah for him to not fast? A concession for him not to fast. It's very important. The person must travel more than 81 kilometers. He must travel going one way. Not meaning 40 and 40. It must be 80 kilometers one way. Are you with me? He must travel before Fajr. Are you with me? His travel must be mubah. It must be a permissible journey. Not a journey you go here to go gamble in Johannesburg. That's not a permissible journey. He goes here, he go work in Johannesburg or Durban. It is more than 80 kilometers. Yes, it's a permissible journey. And the person must go beyond the border of the town, as we can say it like that. And I mentioned, I think someone mentioned that Mulata Karan used to say that the borders is considered to be by the airport. If you pass the airport and then you count 80 kilometers, then only. So it's important. So for example, a person, he travels after Fajr. Is it permissible for him to break his fast? He's going from here. So for example, a person is going for Hajj, for Umrah. He's going for Umrah. But his flight is 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning. And he travels. Is it permissible for him not to fast? That's the question. Based on our conditions, no, it's not permissible for him to fast. He must travel before Fajr, then only fasting will be permissible for him. Is it clear? Is it clear? So not after Fajr. Okay? And I'll read you the text inshallah. فلا يجب على مسافر سفرا طويلا مباحا للآية المارة فيباح له ترك الصوم بنية الترخص. You must make the niyyah of tarakhus. بذلك والصوم أفضل. Now they discuss what is better. Is fasting better or breaking the fast? What is better in the journey? Yes, sir. Rukhsa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if in the journey you don't have to fast. So what is better? Is it fasting is better or breaking the fast? The ulama says, والصوم أفضل ما لم يتضرر به. Fasting will be better for him, the best for him, if he travels and there's no difficulty for him in traveling. Are you with me? Because the Prophet ﷺ said, السفر قطعة من العذاب. Sometimes a journey can be a portion of adhab. It's difficult. You're leaving your comfort and all these things. So if the journey is difficult and it's harmful for you to fast, then it's better for you to not fast. However, if there's no difficulty, then fasting will be the best option. خير؟ قال الزيادي ولا يصح الفطر إلا إذا جاوز ما شرط مجاوزته في صلاة المسافر قبل الفجر يقينا. That's very important. What I just mentioned. You will only be allowed to not fast when you travel if it's done before Fajr. And if the journey is such a journey where you can make Salatul Qasr. Are you with me? So that is a journey of, it must be after the boundary of the town, 80 kilometers. I met someone when I went for Umrah. So I met a Yemeni. So he was driving us around, and then I asked him, "Are you fasting?" I said, "No, I'm not fasting." And then he mentioned to me that because he's driving more than 80 kilometers, he's driving up and down, so he does not need to fast. So this masala which he understands is incorrect. Are you with me? The masala is not. So for example, I drive around. I drive from here to Mitchellsplein, from Mitchellsplein back to Ottery, back to Mitchellsplein, back. So 5-6 times a day. How many kilometers is that? Let's say more than 80 kilometers. Let's say so. Are you with me? Does it mean that you can fast? You can break your fast in the month of Ramadan? La. It must be beyond the boundary of your city, and then you start counting 80 kilometers. It must be before Fajr. Khair? And also, وَيُسْتَثْنَى مِنْ ذَلِكَ مُدِيمُ السَّفَرِ. I'm just giving you the explanation under each point. As for a person who's constantly traveling, will he also be under these people that can break his fast if he's traveling? La. Nope. Why? Because he's a person that's constantly traveling. It will make his travel will be so much that he does not need to fast eventually. Am I right? It will take his fardiyah of Ramadan, it will be put aside. So because of that, he will be the exemption. He does not break his fast in the month of Ramadan if he's a traveler. Khair? Any questions on this specific chapter? We done with that chapter? Khair. Now we're going to the Arkanu As-Siyam. Things that must be done for fasting. The Arkan, and as we translate, the farad of fasting of Ramadan are three things only. The first one is to make an intention at night for each day of the farad fast. You must make intention every night. Because why? Every fasting of every day is a different ibadah. Are you with me? So the first of Ramadan is one ibadah. The second of Ramadan is one ibadah. The third of Ramadan is one ibadah. So it's every day is a ibadatun mustaqillah. It's a separate ibadah. Are you with me? And that's why you need to make every night your niyyah. That's why we have a beautiful custom in Cape Town, mashallah. You normally, the beautiful customs that we have in Cape Town, you normally don't find this in other places in the world. We are lucky, alhamdulillah. Our ai*mmah, Allah grant them high places in Jannah. They have laid a foundation that we are benefiting today. And they showed us how to practice important aspects of Sharia in a very easy way. After Ramadan, after Tarawih, we say, نَوَيْتُ صَوْمَ غَدٍ أَنْ أَدَائِ فَرْضِ شَهْرِ رَمَضَانِ هَذِهِ سَنَتِي لِلَّهِ تَعَالَى إِيمَانًا وَاحْتِسَابًا لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ الْكَرِيمِ. We say these niyas, am I right? Understand? Why? Because the Imam was so concerned for the person's fast to be correct that he said, perhaps you will oversleep, perhaps you won't make your niyyah when you go home. Now we do it here, and your fast tomorrow will be correct. According to the Shafi'i, if you don't make your niyyah the night before, yes, you need to stop eating, but you have to make qada of that day. Are you with me? So it's very important, and that's why I mentioned our ai*mmah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them high places in Jannah. So the first one is you must make the niyyah. Now we'll come back to elaborate on that, inshallah. And the second one, refrain from intentionally doing things which break the fast. So I will go in detail on that, things which break the fast. So you must stay away from anything that breaks the fast. To give you a how to measure it. Dimagh, we have something called dimagh, the brain. We have something called the jawf, the brain, the stomach, and the intestine. These three things. What is it? The brains, the stomach, the intestine. If anything goes into that via our mouth, our nose, our ears, our private parts, if it goes to that via these manfad, the cavities, via these things, then our fast break. You got it? How many things you may consider? The mouth. I'm giving you the synopsis and then you will see how everything makes sense. So for example, so it mustn't go to the stomach, it mustn't go to the brain in the intestine. So for example, someone gets an IV injection, an injection in the stomach, that goes to the stomach. Does his fast break? Yes. But if I get an injection in my leg, or in my bum, or my leg, but it does not reach the stomach, does not reach the brain, is my fast broken? It's intact. That's why I say you must remember these three things. So I'm making everything easy. Dimagh. So if I take, so for example, an easy example. I rinse my nose and water from my nose goes to my brain. Does it break my fast? It breaks my fast. Are you with me? I drink water, it goes down. It breaks my fast, am I right? It goes to the stomach. Are you with me? So that's why I say anything that goes year in, year in, year in. Our ulama, Shafi'i ulama, don't consider this to be a manfad, a cavity. They don't consider the eyes. And that's why it's permissible for you to use kuhal. Surma, as we say, surma. If a person puts surma in his eyes and he feels in his throat, kan nog 'n bietjie voel van die kuhal, is his fast broken? Say again? Nope, it's not broken. It must enter via this manafidh. And the eye is not one of the manfadh, the cavities. Imam Nawawi makes mention of something. If someone stab you in the stomach, or put something here in your stomach, does it break your fast? He puts something in your stomach with a knife and he puts something in. Does it break your fast? It breaks your fast, yes. And in the same manner, the IV injection, anything that goes to the stomach, dimagh in the intestine, will break the fasting. Another thing, if anything comes out here intentionally, so if it comes out unintentionally, for example, you vomit unintentionally, does it break your fast? No. However, if you've done it intentionally, does it break your fast? Yes. So for example, a person, anything, if he puts even his finger here, anything that he tried to bring out, where he is the reason for it to come out, it will break the fast. I'll give you an example. Is a stone here somewhere, or is something here that's bothering the person here? Now he brings it out. He himself brings it out. But it breaks the fast? It will be considered as taqayyu. Anything that he brings out. Even if he burps or something, and something comes out of his mouth, and he burps with force, and something comes out of his mouth, it breaks his fast. Khair? Okay, but I'll explain more on that inshallah. For the one who is conscious of his fast and is not ignorant, two conditions that you have to consider for fasting to be not broken. So if a person do anything that breaks fast, forgetfully, his fast is intact. That's one. So for example, a person in the month of Ramadan, the first few days, was just sitting and he drank water. Hy drank amper hele water. But nou agter hierdie, ek poasa mos man. Is his fast broken? Nope. His fast is not broken. if it's done anything that breaks the fast, if it's done intentionally, then it breaks the fast. But if it's done forgetfully, it does not break the fast. Khair? Another condition that we have to keep in mind, nasiyan and aliman. If he knows that these things break the fast, and he does it, then his fast will be broken. But if he's not knowledgeable of it, like for example, a person who accepted Islam recently, 2 days ago, tomorrow's Labarang, tomorrow's Puasa, tomorrow's fast. He have intercourse with his wife. Now, he comes to you and he said, listen, I have intercourse with my wife and I stayed away from food and everything. Is his fast broken or is it intact? His fast is right, not broken, because he done it not knowingly, he done it out of ignorance. Okay? So these two conditions, if anyone does anything that breaks the fast, as an ignorant person or as a person that's forgetful, or then his fast does not break. Okay? So say, man, julle guys be eat and with eat the whole be, but you forgot your fast. This normally happens in the first few days of Ramadan, am I right? Sometimes you because your norm is that you normally eat. That's your norm. You normally eat. But now, no. Any man from Ramadan is salinach, and the habit is, go drink. Now you go fetch a drink, and then your wife see you drink and say, hey, it's Puasa. You leave the drink just so and you fast on. Your fast is accepted. It's correct. If it's done forgetfully. However, if it's done intentionally, then obviously the fast is broken. Number 3, the fasting person himself. So for fast to be correct in the arkan of fasting, there must be a fasting person. Okay? Now I just want to do some of the things that breaks the fast. The ulama has given 7 things that we have to look for. I'm going back to the first one. Making the intention. I just read it. Making the intention. In the Shafi'i madhab, for compulsory fast, like Ramadan, you must make the intention before Fajr. You got it? If it is extra fast, tatawwa', if it is sunnah fast, then you must make it before Zawal. Alright? Right? So for example, as Maandag, you wake up at 11 or 10 o'clock. There's no food in your house. You say, okay, ek gaan maar net so goed puasa man. But you never made intention last night. It's a sunnah fast. Can you fast? Yes. This happened to the Prophet. He came to his wife. He said, listen, is there food? Is there breakfast? And he said, no, there's no breakfast. He said, then assume. He said, if that's the case, I'm going to fast. Are you with me? So, if it's before Zawal, this is sunnah. But if it's farad, it must be, the niyyah must be done when? Before Fajr. Again, it's a Shafi'i. But our ulama in the Shafi'i school says, in this mas'ala, to make it easy for you, you can follow the Malikis. What is the mas'ala of Malikis? The Malikis say, you can make the first night intention for the whole month of Ramadan. You can make the first night intention for the whole month of Ramadan. So for Nanasi is the Tarawih. You make intention of Allah, I'm fasting for the whole month of Ramadan. Okay? And then you are saved. Okay? But the ulama say, still to stick to the Shafi'i madhab, try your best to make every night intention. Okay? So for you to be on the safe side, in the Shafi'i madhab, if you don't make the niyyah before Fajr, your fast is not correct. You must make qada of that fast. However, you must still stay away from eating and drinking to respect the month of Ramadan. Okay? But your fast, you have to make qada of that fast. Okay? But But now we say, listen, yeah, go to with the Maliki madhab, it's going to be easy for you. And it's mentioned in the book, yeah? It's advisable for everyone to follow the Maliki madhab in the first night. Then try your best to follow the Shafi'i, just in case you forget. Just gaat slaap misschien vroeg, but you must make Isha. So you can make after Isha the niyyah, but eventually you fall asleep, and you only woke up the morning of the Fajr. So if you follow the Maliki madhab, you are safe. If the Shafi'i madhab, then nope. And then also, the ulama would also encourage the Hanafi madhab, where they say you can make the niyyah anytime. You don't have to make the niyyah for every day there must be a niyyah, but you can make the niyyah anytime. Okay? But we follow we try our best to follow the Maliki. Shafi'i, it must be done at night. Alhamdulillah, our masajid has the great sunnah of saying the things. And it's not compulsory for you to say it out loud. You can make the niyyah in your as mentioned in Salah, the mahallul niyyah is where? Where is the place of the niyyah? It is the heart. But we say it out loud. Why? To just remove the wiswas of shaitan. You know, I had a friend many years back in Darul Ulum. He was tested severely. So he was tested with the wiswas of shaitan. So shaitan will come to you when you're in your ibadah, and he will try to find a fault in the correctness of your ibadah. He will tell you, hey, did you make the niyyah? Did you reach the Fatiha properly? Did you do that? Shaitan will do that. So this friend of ours, he was severely tested. That we make salah, we're done with salah, then he's still busy with the first. Is he doing his stuff right? Shaitan troubled him. We're done with Isha, then he's still busy with starting with Isha, because he's thinking, did I make the niyyah? Did I do this? He was very severely tested. So Shaitan will come to you. So the best way is you try. It's not a must to do it, but if you say it with your وَيُنْدَبُ لِيُسَاعِدَ اللِّسَانَ الْقَلْبِ خير. So for example, a person, he makes the niyyah and he has intercourse with his wife after making the niyyah. Does it mean that his niyyah is not valid anymore, or does his niyyah still stand? Say again? Yeah, the ulama makes mention here that his niyyah still stands. Okay? And then we go to so what is required for you to make of niyyah? The minimum niyyah that you must make is nawaitu Sawma Ramadan. Nawaitu Sawm Ramadan. Nawaitu Sawm Ramadan. You are fasting Ramadan. It's the minimum. If you just make intention nawaitu asum, if you make intention I'm fasting, then intention is incorrect. But you must mention Ramadan. Here they say the best the best way of saying the niyyah is nawaitu Sawma Ramadan or nawaitu Sawm Ramadan. That is the minimum. But the best way is nawaitu Sawma Ghadin an ada'i farad Ramadan هذه السنة لله تعالى ويسن أن يزيد, and it is sunnah for him to add إيمانا واحتسابا لوجه الله الكريم. So if you add these things, you get the full reward of your ibadah of the niyyah. Khair. And then we go to a very important masala. I don't know if we have time to discuss this. Number 2, it is anything that breaks the fast. Number 1, having sexual intercourse. Having sexual intercourse during the day of Ramadan. At night, لا بأس به. The ayahs go, أُحِلَّ لَكُمْ لَيْلَةَ الصِّيَامِ الرَّفَثُ إِلَى نِسَائِكُمْ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it's permissible for you to have sexual intercourse with your wife at night. But during the day, it is haram. It is haram to have jima', sexual relations with your wife. In actual fact, if any person does that, is a sinner, is doing haram. And not only that, do we know what's the consequences of that? Anyone? The consequences of that is the person must free a Muslim slave. So now he does not find a Muslim slave. He must fast for 60 days. 60 days mutatabi'an, consecutively. It's severe. So for example, the 60 days must be after each other. Die persoon hy poasa vir 'n hele 59 days and the 60th day he breaks the fast. He has to start over with the 60 days. So severe it is. Are you with me? And in the Shafi'i madhab, the sequence must be followed. The sequence must be followed. So what is the sequence in the Quran? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes mention, itqa raqabati mu'minah. It is to free a mu'min slave, a mu'minah. If you don't find, like in our time, we don't have slaves, am I right? So now we can't execute that. We can't do that. So we go to the second option. You can only go to the next option if you cannot do the previous option. And the next option after this is fast for 60 days consecutively after each other. And then after that is to feed how many people? 60 people. So can I, as a person, I've had jima' with my wife, I broke my fast with her. I broke my fast with her, with jima', with sexual relation with the wife. Then only this apply. But if a person is clever and maybe he broke his fast eating, and then afterwards he has relation with his wife, then this won't be applicable to him. He must break his fast with this sexual relation. Only when he breaks it with that. Okay. But if he breaks it with eating food or stuff like that, and afterwards he does it, then this penalty is not there for him. Are you with me? Okay. And this penalty is not for the female, but it's only for the male. Only for the wati. Walal mawtu'ah. It's only for the male. So he will be the only one that will have to do this penalty. But now the person, he does not have a slave to free. He doesn't have the ability to fast for 60 days. He doesn't have money to feed 60 people. What now? Does it fall away from the person? Nope. It remains with him until he has the ability to do so. And I've listened to one of with his encouragement. He said, if you do that, the encouragement is, and you don't have the ability to do that, in your wasiyah, write down that I still owe Allah this, and encourage your family to do that for you on your behalf. Okay? So even if you, he mentioned, even if you missed a fast, you missed one fast, write it in your will, in your last, write it down. We as Muslims should have this, just in case we die. I know people that every second week they used to change it according to the circumstances. But if you're a Muslim, you have to have this. Otherwise, النفس معلقة, your ruh is معلقة, الروح معلقة. Your ruh it's suspended until certain things is your debt that you have, it's paid for you. So your ruh is just in a certain place that is roaming there, not going to where it's supposed to be going. And this is because of your dain, especially when it comes to people. If you owe some people, then you need to pay them. So he gave advice. He said, listen here, every night before you go sleep, ensure that you write something down. That I owe Allah a fast. I owe this person this amount. I owe that person that amount. So you do that to save yourself. So fasting, even if you salah, you ask, even if, whatever it is, write it down and ask your family to do that act on behalf of you. Can someone else fast on your behalf when you die? Yes. So that's why you write down, is call for Allah, miskien 'n maand se puasa. I don't know. Sometimes we change our lives. Sometimes people change their lives and they become better people. Does not mean that it falls away. Unless you weren't a Muslim, but it's still there with you. And that's why I always encourage people, if it is, if there was a period in your lifetime that you never made salah, and I'm going away from the topic, but there's a period in your lifetime that you never made salah, what you do is, you make your Isha salah tonight, and then you make another Isha salah qada. You make Maghrib salah, then you make another Maghrib salah qada. You make Fajr salah, you make another Fajr salah qada. Because we will be questioned. Since that age when we became baligh, since that age, we will be questioned. So if you have the ability, so for example, there was a period in my life that maybe I was 2 years, I was off the wagon, I was on some other lifestyle. Alhamdulillah, Allah gave me hidayat, I'm becoming a better person. So what you do is, you try your best to make your qada, even your fasting. When you're fasting, when you have days for that fasting, because eventually, jy skuld vir Allah, soos ons sal sê, jy skuld vir Allah, en is beter om vir Allah nou te betaal hier op die dunya, as om daar te betaal. Okay? That's why ulama say, you write it down, this stuff. Okay? So just by penetration, the fast break. Okay? By penetration. Number 2, al-istimna. Istimna, in our translation, it's called masturbation. If a person removes the money himself, or he does something that result in the money comes out. If he touches his wife, he touches her, and then because of his desire, some money comes out, then his fast break. However, if he just look at her and he thinks, and then money comes out, if his fast does not break. Man, are you with me? Because he's not the reason for that. But if he created something to create the reason for it to come out, then he has to make qada. But if it comes out, maybe you're thinking, are you with me? But he did not do any action, then the fast doesn't break. For example, if a person has ihtilam, 1 o'clock a day, he wakes up, everything is wet, a wet dream. Is his fast broken? Fast broken? No, his fast not broken. No. I've met many people that said, I met them, said, ek praat nie van dagie maar na hoe kom jy? Ek het 'n wet dream gekry vir effensies. Doesn't break your fast. There must be, you are the reason for that money to come out with certain actions by touching, hugging your wife or doing certain things. Then your fast break. But if you are not the reason and you're just thinking of stuff and all that stuff, your fast doesn't break. ولو قبل زوجته وفارقها ساعة ثم أنزل فإن كانت الشهوة مستحبة. Either say, if he kisses his wife وفارقها يعني ساعة, يعني he holds her for some time, or he leaves her, ثم أنزل, and he makes inzal, and his private part is qa'iman, is standing, hatta anzala, and it comes out, then his fast break, because he made some actions. Are you with me? But here they say, if you are a youngster, don't kiss your wife. If you're an old man like Biti Vili, and it's okay, kiss your wife, no problem. Because the desire that age is not really as a youngster. A youngster's desire is a super other level, but just back to that. Because it's a hadith. Try to get the hadith about the youngster. However, if it's a youngster, then don't do it. If it's an elderly person that has walked the walk, and he was there for years, and he was with, and what the desires is so hoog, soos die youngster nie, and that's why they said, youngsters, nope, don't do it. Khair. And then al-istiqa'a wa taqayyu, to bring out stuff, to bring out vomit. Are you with me? So you bring it out intentionally. You put something here, or you create a scenario where you bring it out, that breaks fast. However, if it comes out on its own, but with the condition that you don't swallow anything down, then your fast is still correct. But if you vomit unintentionally, but something goes down, the fast is broken. Okay? Even, you see, that we call it the flame. If you bring it out, they normally have something called way. It's a bit in detail, but I don't think we have time. It's where must it pass? Where must it pass? So you have the makhraj, certain makhrajs here in your throat. There's certain makhraj. So they call this something hadd al-zahir wa hadd al-batin in Arabic. The hadd of zahir and the hadd al-batin. Where do I draw the line when it passes a certain place? Like for example, a very easy example, I think I'll elaborate on this next week inshallah, but I'll just give you an example. So for example, if a female is istinja, am I right? I know I'm being explicit here, but this is what the books is giving us. Explicit in examples for us to comprehend. So a female, when she is istinja, and she's fasting, are you with me? She can only touch that which is apparent. Are you with me? From the private part. However, if she goes beyond that which is apparent when she sits down like squats, are you with me? When she sits down, and whatever is beyond that, which, so whatever you can see, if she touches that, her fast don't break. But if she goes beyond that which you can see when she sits down, then her fast break. Got it? Are you with me? And that's why we're talking about what extent, or where do we draw the line. But I think inshallah next week we will go into that, because we need more explanation on that inshallah. Khair, is there any questions before we conclude inshallah? On fasting, barakallahu fikum. With regards to the back part? Yeah, exactly the same. Exactly the same. So you can touch, which is apparent when you sit like this. But when you go beyond that, then you fast break. Khair? Any other question? So it must be, so that's why we say we call hadd al-zahir or hadd al-batin, the limit of where it can pass by. Are you with me? So if I put something that comes here, does it break my fast? Nope. It has a specific place where they have to pass, then only it will break your fast. Okay? So for example, it's a string in my mouth, but it's only here till here. Now someone pulls it out. Normally when you pull out stuff from here, then it breaks your fast. Am I right? it has the same ruling of the intentionally vomit. You bring out stuff from the inside. So when you bring stuff from the inside, it breaks the fast. Am I right? Khair? So in the same manner, where do we draw the line? So inshallah, I think next week we can go into detail with regards to where do we draw the line when it comes to entering certain things in your body. Any other questions? Okay. So khair, inshallah, please don't eat catch while you forget, inshallah. Because Mawana said I can eat a catch I get forget. The mere fact that you remember I said that means you didn't forget. I just, okay, so based on our lesson, a few questions, inshallah. Just to see if we are on the same level, inshallah. So the first question, inshallah, is a person he wants to travel from here to Joburg or Durban. Is it permissible for him to break his fast? Is it permissible for him to break his fast? And if it is permissible for him to break his fast, with what conditions? Anyone? With what conditions? Is it permissible for him to break his fast when he travels? Anyone? How many kilometers? 81. Let's say 81. Let's round it off. 80 point something. Let's round it off to the nearest number, which is 81. That's the first condition. Second condition? Before Fajr, Shukran. That's very important. It's very important. It must be before Fajr. If it's after Fajr, nope. Because you already made your intention, am I right? You already made your intention. Khair. Another question. A female have hayd. Is it jais for her to stay away, or is it compulsory for her to stay away from fasting? Is it compulsory? So that means it's haram for her. So if she fasts, does she get sins? If, say, for example, a female is in a menstruation, she fasts, will she get sin or not? Say again? She will get sin, yes. She should not fast. It's haram. It's haram for her to fast. However, she must stay away from food in a way that she respects the month of Ramadan. Sy moet 'n bietjie water of iets soos daai. But imsak, stay away to respect the month of Ramadan. But she don't stay away from food because she's fasting. The moment she say because she's fasting, then it is haram. What's the ruling of feeding people in the month of Ramadan during the day, especially a kafir? What's the ruling? Say again. You are i'anatan lahu ala ma'siyatin. The word says you are assisting him in being disobedient to Allah. Khair? So inshallah, our time is up. So next week, inshallah, we will go more in detail. And then we will go to the fidya, fitra, and all these other things, inshallah. Subhanallah bihamdi, subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika, nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون سلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.